long. So I would say go to the toilet before you get to the start line, because honestly, you're looking at queuing for like an hour. Try not to use the toilets, I think, at the start line, if you can.
And that's an interesting perspective, because I wouldn't 100% agree with you, Lauryn, but I also did make use of the female urinals that were available, and that was just because I decided that I was comfortable to do so. But not I appreciate not everybody would be comfortable, but I did notice there was a slightly shorter queue at that option. But definitely something to consider. But I also appreciate that that might not be possible for everybody,
For everyone.
especially yeah, exactly. It's definitely a choice. And also, if you do get there and there's really long queues and you're just thinking, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get to the toilet in time? Take a little walk, because there are sometimes toilets a little bit further away from the really popular areas, which are a little bit quieter. It is such a big expanse of space. You may find some quieter toilets a little bit further away from the main kind of hubbub. Before I move on to the next topic, was there anything else anybody wanted to add there when it comes to the start area or start line?
Well, again, it's the obvious things that perhaps aren't specific to being a blind runner or a guide runner, but obviously you're going to be standing around for quite a long time outside. So obviously look at the weather forecast, determine whether or not you need to take a couple of throwaway layers that you can use just to keep warm. If you are standing around on grass and it's a very wet day, then you might want to think about putting bags over your shoes or something like that, plastic bags. Sometimes people do that if they don't want to stand in the mud. I've been quite lucky. Only one of the 4 London marathons that I did was really rainy. The rest were fine. But just keep an eye on the weather forecast and make sure that you're looking after yourself before you start running, because you don't want to become like hypothermic or something before you've even started your race. So look after yourself. Take all your breakfast, your second breakfast, your third breakfast, however many breakfasts you have when you do a long run. And yeah, I'm somebody who goes to the toilet like 3 times before I start a marathon. So, I'll be doing that for sure. And I just figure I'm going to be stood around anyway. I might as well stand in a queue for a loo.
The other thing as well, like Dave said, like keeping yourself warm. Don't forget that you could take like an old jumper or an old like jacket, and then literally before you start you can just there's like a big kind of like area that you can put it all into, and it all goes to charity. So if there's a jumper that you're not worried about losing, you can keep it on right till you go through to the actual start, and then you can just ditch it, and then they'll save them all up and send them all to charity for recycling.
Brilliant. Right, I'm going to move us on, but thank you so much for the tips and tricks there. That was really helpful. So I'm going to move us on to the topic of being out on the course, which is a pretty huge topic. We're talking about the whole of the marathon here, 26.2 miles worth of being a part of the London Marathon, and it's going to be an incredible experience for you all, I'm sure. And we do have quite a few questions here that have been submitted before, but I'm just going to give you a couple of things to be aware of. So first of all, there will be 2 RNIB cheer points out on the course. We are really going to do our best this year to actually get on to Tower Bridge and hopefully give you a big cheer as you come past us there. And then we will also have a cheer point at mile 25 on the embankment. So just as you come into your final 1.2 miles of the marathon. Both of the cheer points will have, well, first of all, they'll be very noisy. We'll have lots of pink banners, and we'll also have photographers. So if you hear your name being shouted around those areas, give us a wave. We'd love to get a great photo of you to keep as a memento of the day. The London Marathon team has also let us know that there will be a welfare hub at the halfway point for anybody who is blind or partially sighted and maybe needs a stopping point halfway. Whatever that is for, it's going to be a quiet space off the course for you to go and do whatever you might need to halfway. or if you should need any assistance. If you're not running with a guide runner, but you require any assistance, please do keep an eye out, or be aware that that is available. This sort of information that I'm giving you here about what London Marathon are adding to this year's event should be available in a guide that they'll be sending out to you as we get closer to the event. But I just thought I'd let you know a couple of the things that they've informed me will be happening. So I'm going to start off with a couple of questions that were asked, and this one was quite an interesting one to start off with. What would you do if your guide runner pulls up with an injury? Dave, do you have anything to answer that?
Well, I'm somebody who I think it's really important to establish a great relationship with your guide runners. And I do a lot of my training with my guide runners as well. So we've developed a strong friendship and understanding. And there are times on a run where one of us, for whatever reason, isn't feeling it, or has a problem, has a blister, or has a something that goes a little bit wrong, and usually you can sort those things out, right? And usually a little period of walking or stretching or just giving each other a bit of moral support works a treat, and get to the next drink station and get whatever support you need. I sort of take the view that you're there for each other, right? You have a duty of care to each other. And so if my guide runner can't continue, I'm not continuing. Now, I have heard stories of blind runners that have been able to get support from another runner. I don't think you can expect that. If it happens, brilliant. If you know somebody else is running and maybe they're a bit behind and you're able to hang out and connect with them, again, brilliant. Good luck. But it's important to be aware your guide runner is not allowed to finish without you. I mean, that's just in the rules. They have to remain with you at all times. And so I take the view that I'm staying with my guide runner at all times. And it's just important that you and your guide runner have that conversation, perhaps in private, just to make sure that you're both kind of comfortable with, what happens if. But I mean, honestly, we're talking about, 1% of situations. The chances are you're going to be absolutely fine. Use your process, use your training, lean into that. Just take it really, really easy. Try and soak up the atmosphere and enjoy it. But have a conversation with your guide runner about what you're going to do if for some reason they had a medical emergency and they weren't able to continue. Obviously, nobody wants to be in that situation, least of all your guide runner, right? But we had a long day last year, Bex and I. We walked a good section of the embankment, and then we managed to jog up the mile, and we got a finish, and we got our medals, and we just sort of chalked it up to experience. But there was no way, Bex was going to be able to run all of it because she had something going on in her shoes that meant that what were previously very bright shoes became very red shoes. I don't think I need to say any more than that. And so, I just felt like it was my role then to just make sure that she was able to at least walk, and we got home.
Yeah, I think that's a really key thing to think about, and hopefully something to take away for any guide runners on this call is to have that conversation before the day and really decide between you, how you're going to approach the day. Bex, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I just think communication is key. As soon as you start feeling that anything's kind of going wrong, just kind of tell it as it is and say if you need to walk or if you don't, etc. Because there's no point in kind of pushing on and kind of going quiet. I always know if Dave's struggling because he will go quiet and I'm like, right, do we need to walk? And he'll kind of try and say to me, nope, and I'll do the same. But we've run together for countless thousands of miles, so we kind of have that unspoken kind of bond. But if you're new to running together, if you don't do it as often as we have, then it is just being completely clear with each other and just being open and honest.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think we can move quite nicely on to just what to expect from being on the course and how important that communication is going to be when it comes to how busy the London Marathon is and what to expect from, when you set off and there's lots of people around you. Lauryn, I wondered whether you could kind of give a perspective there of how it feels, you know, to be in such a busy space.
Yeah, so what I was really worried about is because obviously really low vision, that I was now looking back, that cannot happen, but I was so worried that I was going to end up off the course. And, you know, but you can't. There's so many people going in all the same direction. There's so many supporters on either side of the road. You cannot get lost. You just can't. The one thing I would say that is really important for people that have got similar eye problems as I have is be really, really mindful of how I have a really bad issue with depth perception. Be really mindful that it is really populated and people are going to be quite close to you and quite close, particularly at the beginning. So just make sure you've got a bit of space. And also as you come up to the water stations as well, people pick up water bottles and they drink from them and then they throw them on the floor, and some of them have still got liquid in them. And I took a couple of skids, luckily not completely over, but I just didn't see them. So be really mindful of that, because the water stations are not only busy with people, but they are really busy with obstructions all across the kind of the course. I know the volunteers try really hard to pick them up. And also around the Lucasade, are they doing the Lucasade again, like the gel? Yeah, that's really, really sticky round there as well. So just be mindful of that. I run like a couple of good miles with what felt like chewing gum on the bottom of mine, like tacking on the floor. So things like that, like just being really mindful of people. But as you kind of get the mileage under your feet, it does kind of space out a little bit, which helps. But at the beginning, it's really, really populated with people. So yeah, that's kind of probably my biggest advice on the course. You're not going to get lost. You're not going to come off the course. And toilets again, like I made the epic mistake of going to the, probably because I didn't do it at the start line, but I made the epic mistake of going to the toilet within the first 10k. You will queue and then you're queuing into your time. But also if you go to the toilet in the latter stages, be prepared for also slippage and everything else that comes with that. And my biggest bit of advice for the toilets is take tissues, because all the tissues will have been, all the paper will be gone towards the end. So, but yeah, just it's slippy in the toilets.
That's really useful. And just going back to what you were talking about, water points, Dave, you might have a different take on this, but I was thinking that a lot of people really they think they need to take the water right at the start of the water point, but they do go on for a long time. These water points aren't just one table. These water points are absolutely huge. So don't think that you need to go in immediately and grab your water. You can wait for about, I don't know, 100 meters and go towards the end where it's not going to be as congested.
Yeah, no, that's right. And so you don't, everyone swamps the first table at a water station, and there will be, I don't know, 8, 12, 20 tables or whatever. So yeah, go in further down where it's a little bit quieter. And if you're running with a guide runner, often the guide runner can signal to the volunteer, you know, if you want 2 drinks or which ones you want, whether you want the Lucasade or the water. If you're planning to chuck it over your head, obviously check it's not Lucasade, because you don't want to do that. Yeah, as has been mentioned, there will be debris on the course. And when you start at the very, very start, so you'll get a countdown for your wave, and then you'll go, and it's actually deceptively calm, I would say, the first couple of miles, because what happens is the different start areas merge together. And so when you get to Cutty Sark, which is at 10k, and everybody's kind of merged together, and then there's a little bit of a kind of a hairpin turn where you kind of run up one side of the ship and then come back down the other side, and you are very, very much elbow to elbow, and people will cut you up. There are people with headphones, you know, so just you know, be ready for that. It's part of the excitement of it, but that's not going to be your quickest mile. You know, if you've got a time goal in mind, there will be time to push on a bit later on, but just conserve your energy. Don't worry about, you know, we always hear this number 26.2 miles. The reality is you'll end up running probably nearer to 26.5 miles because of all the, you know, you can't run the whole marathon on the blue line or whatever it is, you know. So you know, there will be a little bit of weaving to kind of go around people, but try not to waste too much energy on that. Tower Bridge at the halfway point is a real highlight. You know, I've run all the 6 majors, and honestly, Tower Bridge is just the best. So exciting. And then when you get around to Canary Wharf, of course, you go through those tunnels under the buildings, and there's the drums in the tunnels as well. So acoustically, you know, it's very different. Sometimes it can be difficult to hear as well. So, you know, if you, like me, if you're totally blind, you're kind of running sort of a bit on feel. And then, of course, in the very late stages, there will be people who'll be stopping unexpectedly, you know, in front of you. So just kind of be ready for that as well. It's all about self-preservation, the marathon, and just taking good care of yourself, and, you know, try and don't do what I do. Try and stay upright.
Also, when you go over the bridge, take it all in, because it, like Dave said, it is incredible. But as you're coming off the bridge, if you try and try and position yourself in the middle of the bridge as you come off, you'll get your best photo from the London Marathon photo people, because they're right in the middle. So as you come down, try and get into the middle to get your money shot.
It's the nearest you can get to feeling like a rock star as a kind of a normal person. I mean, seriously, you know, the photos and the crowds, and just drink it in, you know.
100%. It's emotional just thinking about it. It's incredible.
Yeah, and if you want to have your name shouted as well whilst you go round, hopefully everyone's got the letters for their names. If you haven't, let me know. But if you have your name on your vest and you get your name screamed at you as you come around, there's nothing quite like it, is there? You know, having hundreds of people support you around the course. Lovely, thank you so much. I hope we've covered everything there that was asked of us before the session. I'm going to move us on to the next topic. We've still got lots to talk about, and just 20 minutes left of tonight's call. So I'm going to now move on to the finish line. And at the finish line, you will obviously feel just absolutely, well, first of all, probably pretty tired, but most of all, elated to have achieved your London Marathon. And it's just one of the best feelings you can get. And when you cross that finish line, you know, everyone actually will be filmed crossing the finish line. I don't know if everyone knows that, but, you know, the BBC are actually filming all day, and there is a live stream that you can access on iPlayers. You can always go back afterwards if you want to catch up on that. But you'll get your medal. So you'll be handed that when you cross your finish line. There is going to be an email actually coming out very shortly about making sure that your medal preference is recorded correctly on your booking. London Marathon introduced a new system where they automatically opted everybody out of getting a medal due to sustainability reasons. However, I appreciate that a lot of people may not realise that. So I am going to be getting everybody to log back into their registration portal and ensure that if you want a medal, that you are getting a medal. If anyone needs any assistance with that, I'd be happy to go through that with anybody on a call in the future after this. We do have until the 22nd of April to do that, so there's plenty of time for that. When you get your medal, you'll also then receive your t-shirt, again, if you've opted to receive one of them, and you'll get your foil blanket to make sure that you're staying warm. And then you'll also go on to collect your bag that Dave mentioned that you'll have given over at the start. It'll be transported to you magically and handed to you by a volunteer, so you get everything you want back in that bag. And then you'll go and meet your friends and family, whoever's agreed to meet you at the finish line, and then hopefully come and meet us at the post-race celebration. Dave, do you have any kind of advice? Oh, sorry, go on, Lauren. Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think last year was obviously I only run it last year. That's the only time I've done it. But they gave the t-shirts out at the running show. So
Yes, you're right. Sorry.
so I
Yeah.
don't know which way they're going to do that this year, whether they're going to go back to the original way or whatever.
Yeah.
But we actually, yeah, so you pick up your number and everything, and then when you go round into the shoppy bit and into the show, there's another area where you go to pick up your shirt. I don't know which way they'll do it this year, but
No, that's a really good point. Thank you, Lauren. I'm thinking back to when I did it in 2023, but yes, you're totally right. They changed that system for 2024. I expect they'll have kept it the same unless they decided that that was not a great way of doing it and they want to revert back. We'll have to wait and see, but thank you for that. That's really helpful. Lauren, do you want to talk about your finish line experience, whether there was anything that you learned from it that you're going to take into this year?
So for me, when I crossed the finish line, obviously emotional. But what I didn't realise is you still have quite a little way to walk. So be prepared for that. You have to then go and go to the lorry where your bag is and everything. And it was just by sod's law that the lorry that my stuff was on happened to be the furthest away. So just brace yourself for that. And also, again, like obstruction wise, there is a lot of debris on the floor. So there's bottles, there's Lucozade, there's people on the floor. It's a little bit of a war zone. There's some interesting conspicuous things on the floor. But I mean, it's incredible. Everyone's really positive when you cross the line, but just be careful, like I say, that there is a lot of bottles and thick and other horrible stuff on the floor. But yeah, and then obviously go get your bag. The best thing that I put in my bag that I was so grateful for when I finished the line was my slippers. I put my slippers on and then I walked to Horse Guards on my slippers, in my slippers, because I did they doing it again this year where they have all the letters up in Horse Guards and then you can meet all your
I
family.
imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I opted for letter L and all my family were at letter L.
Do you want to just explain that, Lauren, just for those who don't know?
Yes. So obviously the whole course is really populated, and for people to try and find their family and everything would be really difficult. So they have loads of letters sections set up at Horse Guards Parade. So pick a letter and then you can tell your family to get there. If they're tracking you on the marathon app, so there's the London Marathon app that will track your number as you go round. So if they've tracked you and they know that you've now crossed the line, they can then head over to Horse Guards at the designated letter that you've agreed with them, and then you can go straight there. So you cross the line, pick up your bag, and then head straight there. And that's really good. And the crowd, like the people there, it's such a wonderful atmosphere. Everyone congratulating themselves, and it's just really good. So yeah, I walked from the lorry to the Horse Guards in my slippers, and I will be doing it again, let me tell you that. So that's my bit of advice.
Yeah, love that. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Lauren. Dave, have you got anything you wanted to add?
Obviously, again, make a plan with your friends and family and guide runner about what's going to happen once you've finished. The Clarence, where RNIB have their post-race party, I think it's about a 20-minute walk from memory, and so put something warm in your drop bag if like me you get a little bit cold when you finish running. And just obviously take your time walking there. There's no rush, and that's usually where I tell my family to meet me, because I know that they would find the alphabet thing at Horse Guards, they would find that difficult. So it's different for everybody. So it was just a lot easier for me to give them, that address, and they could at least, be inside or get a drink or whatever while they're waiting. The other thing, obviously, when you do cross the finish line, like other points on the course, there is a timing mat. So don't trip over that on the finish line because you'd be embarrassed. You're in it's usually I think a blanket is usually the first thing they give you, like the foil blanket to put around your shoulders just to try and keep you warm. And obviously remember, it's volunteers that are giving you the medals as well. So I always try and make sure to kind of show my appreciation for them. I mean, blooming heck, thank your guide. Because if they've got you through all of that, I mean, just and it will change you. Like if this is your first marathon, it will change you. You'll be a marathon finisher forever, and you'll always have that in you. You'll always feel a little bit taller, a little bit more resilient, and it's a wonderful thing to have achieved. And if you've raised money for RNIB, then even better, fantastic. Thank you very much, and we do appreciate it. And enjoy your post race. Yeah, safe travels home. But yeah, just have a bit of a plan. I mean, sometimes I've stayed with my guide and we've gone for food. Sometimes we've gone back to a hotel, got changed. Sometimes it's been like we've both got different plans and different people that we need to meet, and so we perhaps just want to have a little break from each other. And that all of those are fine, but just make sure that you have managed expectations between yourselves so you both know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Bex, do you have anything to add there?
I don't think so. I think it is just a case of knowing where you're going to go, where you're going to meet people, etc. And just kind of be kind to everyone that's there. I always make sure I've got Crocs, so similar to Lauryn. I've had my Crocs to change into, which was a godsend last year because my foot did blow up. But yeah.
I think
Great advice.
I think Dave's right. Take it all in, because I think when you cross, I thought I was going to get really emotional coming past Buckingham Palace, but I think I was a bit over it by then. But once I actually crossed the line, the volunteers are so lovely, and I was a blubbering wreck, really. So just take it all in, because that is that moment. You've done it. You've crossed the line. You've got the medal, and and Dave's right. You are taller. You are prouder. You are stronger, and it will change your life 100%.
Absolutely. Oh, so excited for everybody. We'll just finish up with our topics before giving ourselves a little bit of time at the end for some questions, just to reiterate what I said about meeting us for a celebration afterwards. So Dave touched on it there. It is about a 20-minute walk from the finish line. I feel like I have to apologize for this, because I know that is not going to be an easy walk whatsoever, and I'm so sorry we can't get somewhere closer to the finish line. But as you can appreciate, you finish on the Mall, so we are restricted with where we can get. But what we do provide once you do get over to us is a hot meal for every runner. So you can choose from an extensive menu of pub, a lovely pub menu, even a roast if you want one. And you also will get a drink, and if you would like one, a sports massage. Well, I say sports massage. It's a massage, however gently you may require a massage at that point if you should wish. And there will be space to sit down with some friends and family there as well, and also see me. I will be there, so I would love to get to meet as many of you as possible on the day. So if you can come along to that, we would really, really appreciate that. It will be busy. It's not the biggest space, but we do try and accommodate absolutely everybody we can whilst we're there. But yeah, we just want to celebrate with you and make sure you've got somewhere that if you wanted to, you can come and sit and enjoy some time celebrating with your friends and family. Is there any just small bits anybody wanted to mention there, Dave, Lauryn, Bex, about the post-race itself?
I would say, even if you don't want to eat, just try and eat something either there or anywhere else when you finish, because it's really important. I actually ended up hitting the wall a little bit there, and I think it was because I didn't eat anything when I finished. So even if you don't feel like it, just try and eat something. Full fat Coke, the best thing I ever drank in that pub. I still will remember the taste of that full fat Coke. So
yeah, great.
Yeah, go to your creature comforts, the things that you enjoy, like after your normal Sunday long runs. Just make sure you try and get those available to you. So either put stuff in your in your drop bag, if you have a favorite snack or something. I'm a coffee person, so I tend to want to get a hot coffee, as soon as humanly possible after running a marathon. So yeah, just have you go. And actually, you know what, that 20-minute walk, I mean, it does sound horrendous.
Yeah,
And
it's good.
it's going to be hard, but actually you do need active recovery. You do need to be moving after you've run. I've had years where I've finished and I've run so hard, like on the finish, that I've just kind of sat down at the base of a tree and found it almost impossible to get back up again. And so actually just keep him moving, and that active recovery will really help you.
Yeah, just take it slow and steady. And Dave's right. Like, I think that walk to the venue is actually really helpful. Although you're thinking this is the last thing I want to do, I do think it helps you from not seizing up. I think he's right,
Yeah.
definitely.
And it can be hard when you finish to, know where to go, or it can be hard to book a table anywhere. So knowing that we're there with a table or at least a seat available for you might just be helpful. Christine, did you have a question?
Just a comment, and excuse me panting, but I'm actually cycling at the moment. So you mentioned about, I think Dave mentioned phone signal being poor. Obviously, there's the London Marathon tracker, which friends and family can use.
Yeah.
We're going to try an air tag as well, Apple AirTag this year. Has anybody done that before?
So just in case, because Christine's line is a little bit fuzzy, she said she was going to try using an air tag and asked if anybody had any experience of using an air tag.
No.
No, but I think that could be revolutionary. Let's see. I'd be really keen to hear how you get on with that, Christine. So let us know afterwards whether that works well.
Yeah, so the app will give your supporters a little bit of a sense of where you are on the course. So if you encourage all your supporters to download the London Marathon app and give them your bib number, then they can track you. And it is an approximation, but it updates each time you cross a timing mat. So when you cross the finish line, they will know that you've crossed the finish line, and so that can be helpful for managing their expectations about where you are and how you're doing. Some people do use things like Find My on the iPhone, or Share the Live Location on WhatsApp. Those things will kill your battery, and also their accuracy can be a bit patchy as well. So just important to be aware of that. It's the people are the most important thing, the people that you're running with.
Yeah.
Also, with just going back to the course as well and talking about people tracking you. So I was lucky enough to have quite a few friends, and I dotted them around the course. And I had an idea of where they were, and I made sure that I pretty much tried to run the whole of the course on the right hand side, and I told all my supporters to always be on the right hand side. So just pick a side maybe and go with that, like if you've got people coming to watch you, because there is so many people, and obviously, as we all know, partially sighted, it's really hard to see. So I just made sure that I stuck to the right hand side where I could, and I had a bit of an idea written on my hands at what mile markers everyone that would come to support me was going to be.
Yeah, love that. All right, I've got 5 minutes left on this call, or we do, and I appreciate everybody giving up their time and their evenings to be here. Does anyone have any burning questions they want to ask before we finish? Please feel free to unmute yourself if you wish to ask anything. Yes, Dave.
Well, it's not really a question. It's just obviously, and I'm sure the coach will tell you this, but do a test race, where there's lots of people, this weekend or next weekend, or go to a busy park run. If you're in London, go to Bushy or something. Just get used to running in a crowd, because that's what you're going to be doing a lot of on marathon day. And so you want to try and get comfortable with running in a crowd and negotiating that situation.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant piece of advice. And like Dave said, if you can't get yourself to a race, a busy park run can be just as good, and they are free and on every Saturday at 9 a.m. I'm sure we all know that. I'm talking to a load of runners. I'm sure you're all familiar with what a park run is. But that's a great bit of advice. Any closing things? Go on, Lauryn.
Just going off like what Dave said about running with so many people,
Yeah.
I think as well, just remember everything is big load of noise, lots of people, lots of supporters, running with loads of people. But also, if you are someone that sort of gets a little bit overstimulated, there are parts of the course that aren't as kind of like as well supported, so you can kind of take stock a little bit and just settle in a little bit. It's not like rah, all of the way around. There are some little other points as well, but yeah, just bear in mind that everything is big.
Absolutely, and London Marathon are actually hoping to break the course record for number of runners at a marathon this year. So you could be part of history, which could be pretty special. I mean, it's already going to be a special day anyway, but that could be an extra little bonus. Bex, was there anything you wanted, any little last things you had that you wanted to mention before we finish?
Just if you want a better shot at a good time, just underestimate. No, I don't know. Be you're going to do because they'll put you in better start there because they don't give you a partially sighted runner as they have done, like in places like New York, where if you're a 4-hour runner, that's with 3:30. So you've got less traffic to get through. So if you've got that opportunity and you want a bit of a better start, just if you're a 4 hours, say you're 3:30, just you're a little bit cheeky, but it'll make your life a bit easier at the beginning.
I'm going to just slightly repeat what Bex said there because it did just break up a little bit for me, but I do know what she was getting at because we spoke about it yesterday. What she was saying was, because when you start, you don't, no one who's blind or partially sighted has their own start area. You are in with everybody else. If you want to have a slightly quieter experience, put down a slightly quicker time than what you're expecting to do, because it means that you won't have loads of people overtaking you. Well, they'll all be ahead of you basically, so it just gives you a little bit more space. Obviously that is slightly fudging the system, and you know, from a London Marathon point they might not be so happy with you doing that, but if you wanted just to give yourself a little bit of a starter time at the start line, and that might just be something to bear in mind, maybe adding on 15 minutes or so to your start time just to give yourself a bit of extra space. Yes, Dave.
Yeah, and run your own race, right? So you might find at one point, you know, you're near a pacer, and somebody might say to you, "Oh, you're near the pacer. You might be near the 4-hour or the 5-hour pacer or whatever it is." You don't know when that pacer started, right? So their time might have absolutely nothing to do with your time. So if you're going for a specific time, just stick to your own plan. You know, don't you know, kind of make the mistake of getting swept along by somebody who, you know, they might have started at a different time from you.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, I'm going to finish us up there, and I'm so glad that we've managed to hit just 7 o'clock as we are wrapping up. But I'm so grateful to everybody who's come along today, and especially to Dave, Lauryn and Bex for giving us their perspectives and really useful advice that I hope you all have found really, really helpful today. If there is anything that comes up, maybe you finish this call and you go, "Oh, I wish I'd asked that. Why didn't I remember to ask that during the call?" Please do email me on events@rnib.org.uk. And if I can't answer, I will make sure to get that question over to Dave, Lauryn and Bex to give their answer to. We're not all going to disappear after this. We're all still around. You know, Lauryn's running. Dave, you're running this year as well, aren't you?
I am.
So
Yeah.
we're all still here, you know, experiencing it all just like you guys. So we'll be happy to keep answering questions after this session as well. But thank you all so much this evening. Lovely to have so many of you here with us, and we will be in touch soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks everyone and good luck.
Bye.